Apple is finally getting ready to step into the foldable smartphone arena, and the device everyone has been waiting for is reportedly called the iPhone Ultra Fold, also being referred to in leaks as the iPhone Fold Ultra. It's expected to make a headline-grabbing appearance at Apple's September 2026 event, and if the rumors are accurate, it could become Apple's most expensive iPhone ever, landing around a staggering $2,600. But just as the hype around Apple's first foldable iPhone is building, a serious problem has surfaced. According to the latest leak, Apple is running into production and engineering challenges that could push the iPhone Ultra Fold release date back by months, potentially weakening its impact in a market where Samsung and other brands already have multiple generations of foldables on shelves worldwide. So what exactly is going wrong? What does it mean for the iPhone Ultra Fold launch? And why is Apple struggling to meet its own standards? Let's break down everything we know so far. September 2026, reveal. But a delayed release? Leaks suggest Apple still plans to unveil the iPhone Ultra Fold during its big September 2026 keynote. That part is important. Apple can announce the product, show it off, and generate massive media attention even if the actual iPhone Ultra Fold release is not immediate. And that's where the issue begins. Multiple reports indicate the phone's availability may be delayed by several months due to manufacturing setbacks. This creates a familiar scenario. Apple uses the September stage to build anticipation, but customers may not be able to buy the foldable iPhone until much later, possibly far enough into the year that the initial excitement cools down or gets overshadowed by competitors. Even more interesting is the rumored rollout strategy. Apple is expected to prioritize the United States and a limited set of early launch regions first. That means several major international markets could be left waiting, including places like Australia, at least in the first wave. A staggered global rollout might make sense from a supply chain standpoint, especially if production is unstable. But it also gives rivals a major advantage. Samsung's foldable phones, for example, are already widely available across global markets. If Apple's foldable iPhone is hard to find, expensive, and limited to a few regions early on, it could struggle to capture momentum, no matter how impressive the hardware ends up being. The biggest problem: Apple's foldable display and hinge at the center of the iPhone Ultra Fold production. Problem are two components that basically define whether a foldable phone feels premium or flimsy: the foldable display and the hinge mechanism. Leaks point to major difficulties during production verification testing, a critical phase where the device's design is tested under real manufacturing conditions. This is the stage where companies figure out if they can consistently produce the product at scale while meeting durability, performance, and quality targets. And Apple, known for strict quality control, appears to be having a hard time getting these parts to meet its standards. First, the foldable display. A foldable screen isn't like a standard smartphone panel. It needs to handle thousands and thousands of folds without developing visible creases, dead pixels, discoloration, or structural weaknesses. It also must maintain consistent brightness, touch responsiveness, and overall visual quality over time. For Apple, good enough isn't good enough, especially at a $2,600 price point. Then there's the hinge. The hinge is the heart of any foldable. It has to be smooth, quiet, durable, and strong enough to hold the display in alignment without putting stress on the panel. A weak hinge can cause wobble, gaps, uneven folding, screen wear, and long-term reliability issues. A hinge that's too tight can create excessive pressure and damage the display. A hinge that's too loose can make the device feel cheap. Leaks say the hinge mechanism is one of the main reasons Apple is struggling to move forward as planned. Mass production timeline. Slipping earlier reports suggested the iPhone Ultra Fold could enter mass production around June 2026. Now, that timeline reportedly has shifted, and there's no clear sign of when the production process will stabilize. This is a big deal for two reasons. 1. Foldable phones are complex to build, and a delay at this stage usually means Apple is still refining the design, materials, manufacturing tolerances, or supplier output. 2. When the engineering validation and production validation phases stretch longer than expected, it can trigger a chain reaction. Component orders get rescheduled, assembly planning gets disrupted, and launch logistics become messy. And if Apple can't confidently produce enough units, it will likely limit early supply, raise regional restrictions, and potentially delay consumer availability, even if the iPhone Ultra Fold is shown off in September. The $2,600 iPhone Ultra Fold price. Premium to the extreme now, let's talk about the number that has everyone talking. The iPhone Ultra Fold is rumored to cost around $2,600 USD, placing it at the very top of the foldable smartphone price ladder. In Australia, that could translate to roughly 3,699 AUD depending on taxes, exchange rates, and Apple's regional pricing structure. This is more than premium. This is ultra-luxury smartphone pricing, and Apple might not even confirm that price during the September event. If production issues are still unresolved, it would make sense for Apple to delay final pricing until closer to launch, when the company can lock in costs, yield rates, and supply forecasts. But even if Apple sticks the landing technologically, the iPhone Ultra Fold price will automatically narrow the audience. This won't be a foldable for everyone. It's likely aimed at Apple's most loyal customers tech. Enthusiasts who want the newest category-defining device, professionals who value multitasking, and bigger screens buyers, who treat phones like luxury products. Meanwhile, competitors like Samsung offer foldables at lower prices, often with aggressive trade-in deals and widespread availability. Apple will be betting that its brand, ecosystem, and overall polish will justify the price gap. Why foldables are so hard. The engineering reality of foldable iPhone isn't just an iPhone that bends. It's a total redesign of how a smartphone is built. Apple reportedly has to rethink almost everything inside the device. The internal layout. A foldable design forces component rearrangement. The logic board, camera modules, wireless charging components, and antennas all have to fit in a split body structure. Battery design. Many foldables use dual battery cells, one in each half connected together. Apple would need to optimize battery performance while ensuring safety, longevity, and thermal stability. Cooling and thermals. Thin foldables have less room to dissipate heat. Apple would need to balance performance and temperature to maintain the user experience, especially if it's positioning this as an ultra product. Software optimization. iOS would need specific foldable features, smooth transitions between folded and unfolded states, multitasking layouts, app scaling, and continuity must feel effortless. If the software experience isn't flawless, the hardware won't matter. And then there's long-term durability. Foldables have historically faced criticism for screen creases, dust vulnerability, hinge wear, and fragility. Apple likely wants to avoid launching a foldable iPhone until it can deliver a reliability story that matches its brand image. Apple's strategy. Slow entry. High expectations. Apple isn't trying to be first. It's trying to be the one that does it right. That seems to be the philosophy behind the iPhone Ultra Fold. Rather than rushing into the foldable market years ago, Apple waited while Samsung and others pushed multiple generations forward, learning through trial, error, and real-world user feedback. But there's a trade-off. By taking its time, Apple enters a market that is no longer new. Consumers already understand foldables. Expectations are high. Competition is mature. And Samsung's foldable ecosystem, hardware, software features, accessories, carrier deals, is already deeply established. So Apple's success will depend on whether it can offer something that feels meaningfully better, not just different. The company will likely lean on premium build quality, tight hardware-software integration, better app optimization, stronger ecosystem features, Mac, iPad, Apple Watch, AirPods. A foldable experience that feels less experimental and more finished. But to pull that off, Apple needs to solve the two biggest pain points first: the hinge and the display. What the delay could mean for the foldable market. If the iPhone Ultra Fold gets delayed, it doesn't just affect Apple, it affects the entire foldable phone conversation. Apple entering the market tends to shift consumer attention, accessory ecosystems, and developer priorities. Many app makers would likely optimize for foldable iPhone screen sizes if Apple confirms the category. Carriers and retailers would allocate marketing budgets. Case manufacturers and accessory brands would rush in.